Hi everyone. Hi. Happy Friday. Happy good morning, afternoon, evening. Happy time zone. Happy Friday. Hello. Hi. Hi Fountain Pen News, Plain Water, Inky Bio Statistician. There we go. I kind of got it. Happy spinning ponies. Yes. Let's see if I spinning ponies. They make me so happy. Yeah, I got it. Yes. Happy Pony Day. Oh, happy Pony Day every day. Happy Inky Pony Day every day. Hi, Carol. Hi. Red Kite. Hello. Hi. Hello. Welcome in. So it's 9 a.m. on Friday here, and I have my second mug of coffee. So grab your favorite drink, tea, water, coffee, whatever. Let's have some fun with ponies today. Olive Octopus. Yes, the Inky Pony. Ink Pony Club session has been called to order on a Friday. Let me know how you're doing. How are you doing? What are you doing on a Friday? If you're working or you're kind of, getting through today to the weekend, I totally get you. I understand. It is nice out today in British Columbia. We have a sunny day today, so I'm happy. And it's about 8 degrees Celsius, so I think that's a little over 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which I am totally okay with. And yeah, the sun's out. Ponies are out. Today, what we're gonna do is just chill. I think Fridays are just for chilling and having some fun. I'm gonna do some painting. So I've got paint brushes and I've got water brushes and I've got my kakimori nib. And I've got a bunch of paints that we can play with. I've got the pony to paint on, and then I also have a watercolor paper to do some abstract floral painting. So have me on in the background, or do art with me, or feel free to ask questions or chat, or just have fun. Just relax and enjoy Friday. And if anything happens, if you can't hear me or anything like that, let me know in the chat, because tech. So if you listen to the Pen Addict podcast on Wednesday, Brad had Aziza from Gourmet Pens on. If you don't listen to the Pen Addict podcast, do it, because it's so much fun and it's a great time every Wednesday. And then join the Twitch chat too. But this week's episode was really interesting. I love listening to Brad and guests speak. So listening to Aziza and sort of hearing her side of how she approaches her art and her ink explorations was really interesting and really fun. And something that really struck me in terms of, I 100% aligned with what she said was that art is a therapy, and that she turns to art to sort of guide her through emotions and anything that's sort of happening. And that's why I choose Friday to do painting and just playing with inks, because for me, art has gotten me through some tough times, some periods of grief and stress and things like that. And so when things are a little tough in life, I find that taking out, inks and paints and just like art supplies and playing with them is really helpful and really fun, and just gets you out of, whatever your mind is sort of thinking about. And Aziza also mentioned when she's going through, like, when she's not feeling so, happy or great or whatever, she turns to like fun and bright colors. And I think I'm the same way. I turn to bright colors, but also shimmer inks. So I tend to sort of go into my stash of ink bottles and pull out like the most shimmery, the reddest, the orange, bright colors, and I play with them. And that just sort of gets me out of, whatever mood I'm in, and just makes it a little bit more playful. So that's what Fridays are for, and that's what we're going to do today. So, oh good, Olive Octopus. I'm working and lurking today. No worries. I think, just thanks for chilling anyways. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, so doing some painting. We'll start with, so I'm going to put some inks into a palette, and I'll kind of talk about the inks too as I go. So I wanted to paint with Tom Studio. Lobcho, thanks for the follow. Thanks for being here. So I wanted to paint with Tom Studio. These are inks I got at the SF Pen Show last year, just because I've really been curious about Tom Studio inks. And the boxes are great, like packaging. They look awesome. And I also picked up, so there's 3 of them, and this one is Peaches and Cream. So I love the name, but it is sort of like a muted, really gentle peach color, and it's great for painting in that way. So definitely, if you get inks and you find that, they're bright yellow or they're muted beige and things like that, where maybe you might not be able to find them legible. Like if you put them in a fountain pen and you're writing with it and you can't read what you're writing, use those inks for painting and for exploration. Morning, Sir Cobalt. Welcome in. Dustin. Banana duck. Can I get a quack quack? Yeah, welcome in. We're just painting. We're just chilling today. It's going to be kind of a relaxing day. So feel free to chat if you want. Let me know how you're doing. What are you up to on this Friday? And I will just, I'll just do my thing. So this is what the bottle looks like. Very cool. It's a lot of ink too. So, if you don't get through, who gets through all of their bottles of inks, right? By just putting them into their fountain pens. So this is a great way of using up some of that ink, is by painting and by coloring in. So that's what we're gonna do. So these 3 I'm going to put into my palette. Quack quack. Oh, banana ducks. Let's get some banana ducks in there. Oh, here we go. So fun. Okay, so I'm going to use a pipette and get just a few drops of ink into the palette. You honestly don't need a lot of ink to paint with, especially if you're adding a little bit of water. Like if you're using a water brush or a brush in general that you're dipping into water, you don't need a lot of ink. So really, you're not, like, don't worry about wasting ink, because I've been painting with inks for a while and I don't think I've finished a bottle of ink yet, so I think we're okay. Sir Cobalt, you had a wellness event that was, oh, they had materials for watercolor paint by number, inspiration boards. Whoa! Affirmation jars and small Lego kits. That is so cool. That's awesome that a team in HR put that on too. It is a way to relax when you're playing with stuff, right? Like, it's not just for kids. It's a great way for us to, and when we sort of say practicing mindfulness, practicing being present in the moment, these are ways to do it, right? You're focused not on worries and adulting stuff, but you're focused more on the inks that you're using or the paints that you're playing with, or, you know, if you're doing Lego, you're focused on putting one piece into another piece. And it sounds very simple, and yet it has such a relaxing effect on our minds, doesn't it? Yeah, Dustin, you and Olive Octopus swatching inks, and it was kind of fun to watch. Exploring inks, introducing each other to new inks. It reminded me of all the FP ink painting streams I've seen lately. Yes. Yeah, and I have to say, Sir Cobalt, I have, like, it's been refreshing watching Brad, you know, just like put himself out there to try something. And he's sort of been talking about doing more art and like doing things that are a little bit more freeing. And right, like we had fun last year in SF when we were painting with inks. And again, like just letting yourself, like giving yourself permission to just have fun with whatever it is, you know, inks or paints or whatever, is like, it is freeing. It is like calming, relaxing. It's a way to let go of, you know, whatever you're sort of holding yourself back from. And if you caught Brad's stream on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, when he did, like he painted his ink pony, Ink Pony Club, when he painted his pony, and you know, he sort of put like splotches and this and that and kind of kept playing with inks. But I found it so funny at the end where he kind of like stood back and looked at it, and the smile that he had was just so nice to see, right? Like, because I think that we kind of have an expectation of what the, you know, what it would look like. Like usually we start painting or we're doing art and we're kind of like, oh, it's probably not going to look that good, or I could probably do something better and I don't know what I'm doing. Those are the common sort of ways to stop yourself, right? Those are limitations that you put on yourself. And when at the end you look back and you're just like, part of the process is having fun. And when you have fun and you look back at what you've done, that joy is transferred to what you did. Like don't think that, you know, you can't convey your joy in your art, because that comes through. And I think that Brad sort of realizes that every time he tries something else. And I love that Olive Octopus got him into like using a water brush and paints and or inks to paint with. And I love that. Like I love that we're sort of supporting each other and also pushing ourselves a little bit, right? To get us out of our comfort zone and to like try new things and try new art. Like I love that I'm painting this ink pony. It just makes me so happy because, you know, I don't tend to color in things with inks. Like my art is like abstract floral art because that's, you know, just something I do to relax. But I love that I'm like, you know, sticking within lines and painting with inks and exploring it that way. I think that's amazing. Yeah. I know it can be difficult to do when you don't feel like an artistic person. Yeah, exactly. When you don't think of yourself as an artist, which I think everyone has an artist in them. I think it's just a matter of like being confident enough to bring that out. And if I can help you do that, I will. And other people will do it too. Arba, good morning. First time I've been able to catch your stream. Thank you so much. And thanks so much for following too. I found you through Helen and Brad Dowdy. I love them both. They're great people. They're great. Yeah, they're great. They're great people. Brad has a great stream and brings a lot of people together. And so does Helen. Helen's a great friend, so. Can you explain what the story is with the ink pony? Olive Octopus, it's sort of like a spur of the moment thing that happened between Brad Dowdy and Olive Octopus. and something that just got mentioned in a Twitch stream, and Olive Octopus went and actually created this graphic, and you can find this on inkpony.club. You can download this onto, HP Premium 32 is kind of like a go-to paper for me when I'm printing something and I want to use like markers and paints and stuff. It's pretty good at handling that. Or if you have fountain pen friendly paper, this one is from Olive Octopus, actually kindly gave it to me to try. Cosmo Air Snow, which I've never tried before. I have tried Cosmo Air Light, but so anyways, and then Brad mentioned the Ink Pony Club on his podcast. I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago. And so it kind of came to life. So that's kind of the short story of it. It is available to be downloaded. It is Olive Octopus's illustration. You can download it, you can paint, color it, do whatever you want, and then send a photo of it to Olive Octopus if you would like it to be uploaded online and attribute it to you. Yeah. So inkpony.club is where you want to go if you want to find out more, if you want to download this graphic. Sir Cobalt, you keep meaning to send him an email with some examples of wet on wet painting. Yeah, a good friend of yours does that with her husband's inks and they turn out so good. Yeah, there's like really great ways of using like watercolor techniques or painting techniques in general. And I think it comes with, trying things out, taking a risk. And, if you're using a water brush, like I have a few water brushes, and water brushes are fun. They're very handy. And also, they're very convenient because they hold water in the brush part, right? So I would love to see Brad sort of squirt some of that water onto his ink when he's painting as well, or, dipping into water in a little jar and then adding some water to the ink. That would be fun, diluting ink and stuff like that. But yeah, send him an email and then let's also encourage him on stream if he paints again. This is the purple. It's called Iris. From Tom's Studio. Brad had an earworm of Pink Pony Club and changed the lyric to ink. Yes, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Italinate. Thank you. Yeah, it came from the song. And anyway. Olive Octopus, you're sketching on Tar Heel card this week on stream. Became a weird moment thanks to the box design. Oh. That's awesome. America's Dairyland ink. These are all inks I haven't tried or seen, but I'll watch your stream, Olive Octopus. Whenever you're swatching inks, I'm always like, ooh, what color is that and what's the name? Because then I can take notes and then I can look them up later. Because of course I need more inks. Plain water. Everyone yelling at him to add water yesterday was hilarious. I know. Olive Octopus too. Aziza kept like in the comments was just like water. Everyone was just like, just add a little bit of water. But I will say too, that color that it turned out to be, I know we called it swamp, but it was actually a kind of like, it was a nice color. I think I would use it, right? Like, wouldn't we get that color? It was like a deep greenish, gray, brown, like really nice shade. An accident shade, like an oops shade. If Brad released that as an oops, I would definitely be into it. So this water brush actually has a little bit of water in it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of painting with a little bit more water to dilute things. Let's see if this paper can handle it. There we go. Those were the two inks Dustin recommended to me in LA. Oh, the Tar Heel box is covered with... the box is covered with feet. Yes. So weird, but also very cool. Now I'm just coloring out of the lines now. You know what? We're just gonna go with it. It's all okay. Wet on wet is also my kindergartner's favorite trick right now. Yeah, inky. I also love watching ink spread. Like if you add a drop of water and you just sort of touch it with a little bit of ink or paint, and watching it just like take over. There's something very satisfying about that. So I 100% get that. It's really cool. It's really fun to watch. No right or wrong answers. That's exactly right, Inky. Yeah, Sir Cobalt. I was also on my phone and it did look like a nice deep green. Kind of like, it reminded me a little bit of Diamine Twilight. That's probably like the closest that I have, but it's kind of like that, like a really deep, deep greenish color. Oh, you got the new ink archiving book, Olive. That's awesome. Ooh, yeah. Show us on stream. I can't wait to see. Dustin, you got an order from Gourmet Pens. I got Ice Fog, Grey Jay, and Puff and Speak. Puff and Speak. I love, because Gourmet Pens is in Canada, Canadian. I love the names are so, like, classic Canadian. Hook me up with a big sample of Niagara Peach. Yeah, again, Niagara Peach. So cool. I am a fan of peach inks, but mostly for painting or Or I throw them in like a double broad nib. Honestly, like your beige, peach, and actually Niagara peach is not that light, but anything that's sort of like a muted color or like a peachy color, I tend to put in like a double broad nib or a stub or something like that. And yeah, they look great. Rubizzles. Oh no, it's sold out. Ah, yeah, hopefully it comes back in stock pretty soon. I did see it online at Wonder Pens for the Canadians. It was in stock when I saw it, and I was so tempted. But, you know, taking a break from buying things for just a little bit after California Pen Show. But I may need to pick it up. So I am curious to see what it looks like what the pages are. Oh, Jessie, you in Tokiwamatsu. Oh, you know what? I love that shade of green. I had a sample of that, and it was one of those samples that I was like, I may need to buy a bottle of it. So it's on my like list of, you know, if I was gonna buy green, it's like one of those green shades that I really like. So I get it. And how are you, Jessie? I'm good. I think we're all just like sort of chilling and hanging out today. It's a Friday, so taking it a little easy. But how are you? You're enjoying your lami, by the way. Yeah, that's what happened with Volume 1. I think initially when they come out, right, like everyone's really excited, and especially if you've had it on your list to buy, probably just like order it. And then hopefully the Volume 1 and Volume 2 too come back in stock. And then yeah, I also understand ordering just one thing being like, I think that's also kind of what happened with Wonder Pens is like I looked at it and I was going to add it to my cart, and then I was like, I'm just gonna order one book, like why don't I just get a few more things, right, like while I'm at it, if I'm gonna get it shipped over. And I ended up, and then I kind of like, I did this like overwhelm thing where I was like, I can't buy a bunch of things right now, so I'm just not gonna buy anything. But who knows? If it's still in stock or if it comes back, if it's sold out, there's always reason to get it. Especially if other people enjoy it, and, you know, and if they sort of share like what it's like, and then you decide you want it, it's all good. I make these purple because why not? There we go. To be fair, I can wait to be patient because I haven't actually used book 1 yet. I understand that, Rewizzles. We're kind of like, yeah, but I should get book 2. And then you have the set, and it's a library, so, you know, you build on each book. I get it. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of, I have to say, by the way, Olive Octopus. So I was initially intrigued by this paper because I've never tried it before, Cosmo Air Snow. I have to say it handles water really, really well. Like I can feel a little bit of not warping, but you know, a little bit of crinkle. And I can't wait to see sort of what happens when it dries. But I've added quite a bit of water to this, and it is fine. The joy of ownership is real. I know, you're like, yes, I have them. I have the set. I have to collect them all. And, you know, when you feel like it, you can pick which book you're going to paint in. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to add a few drops of this green, and then I'm going to add some flowers and some things on, because there's so much space on this paper and I don't want to waste the space. I actually kind of enjoy painting on this paper, so we're going to add a little abstract to it. So this green is Back to the Land from Esterbrook. It's the Back to the Land collection called Quirky Leaf. And it's actually a really nice green in fountain pens and also to paint with. I like using it for leaves and things like that. So, all right, let's see. Purple. Plain water, you're slightly obsessed with Quirky Leaf. Yeah. It's been in a medium nib and now it's going in a broad one. Yeah, there's something about this color, and I have the fountain pen too, in that green, the Quirky Leaf fountain pen from Esterbrook, the Esty. And yeah, it's this color. And it's this like really nice shade of green, right? And like obviously it is like a leaf shade, so definitely very nice. And I had it inked up in my Esty for a while before I was kind of like, move on, use other greens. But it's one of those shades that's like really nice. It is very leafy. And definitely a good coloring and painting ink. Great color. Yeah, it does hold up well. Yeah, Olive, I agree. Cosmo Air, I have a Cosmo Air light notebook from Galen Leather. And I initially got it because, you know, I was curious to use it, and I wrote it in, and I just find the like the texture and like how it feels shiny when you're writing on it. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like writing on this, but for painting and for like doing art on it, actually it's really nice. And it holds really well to paints and colors and water, especially if you're adding water in. Yeah, I find that it's like, it behaves really well in that way. So, okay. I'm going to let that dry. And then we'll draw on top and see how it holds up to even more, even more ink. But I do love this paper, Cosmo Air Snow. Although, is it also going away because it's part of the Cosmo Air family? Of course it would be. You know, when you find a paper that you really like. Oh, you're happy to mail out more pony sheets? Thank you, Olive. I am going to I'm thinking of printing them out on a few more sheets that I have as well that I got like the sample pack from Yamamoto Paper at the SF Pen show last year. And so there's like 5 different types of papers, I think, in there. So I'm thinking of like trying them out and testing them, right? So I think I might do that as well. But I will send you photos of the ones that I'm doing, of the ponies that I'm doing. Ink Pony Club. So this ink that I'm using, or going to use, is called Vampire Pigeon it's a Robert Oster and Atlas Stationers collab. It was kind of like, it came from an inside joke from Hollywood or Brendan. It's called Vampire Pigeon, and it's really nice. It's like a shade of like red, a deep red with shimmer. It's actually really fun. Favorite paper lately is Midair. Midori. Midori. Yeah, Midori. I was like, what is this? Midori. Great paper. It's like one of those just classic paper, right? Like, you know, Midori papers. Good paper. I printed some ponies on Midori cotton. Yeah, so I actually got, did I get some Midori paper? Like, yeah, I think I got like different types of Midori paper just to test it out and stuff. But like, I love Midori notebooks, like the cream, just, you know, staples. I feel like they're just staples. Midori cotton is hard to find too, I think. Especially like wherever I look. I think everyone kind of snatched them up. So I'm going to use a yellow as well. And this is Amarillo Antiguo from Amarillo Stationery through Pannonia. And it is this very nice shade of yellow, which I have used in fountain pens as well. Broader nibs, just as I do with like the lighter colors or brighter colors. And it's great in fountain pens, but I do love painting with it as well because it's just this bright, sunshiny, fun yellow. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do a little painting on here while I wait for this to dry, which might take a while actually, so I'll put it on the windowsill. All right, let's see. Yeah, I love the texture. Cotton is for heavy watercoloring, I think. Yeah, I think that cotton is really good for doing art on. TGS has a lot of Midori, so I'm very lucky. Oh, the Gentleman Stationery. Yeah, you are lucky. You picked up an A4 pad right before the CA trip. Yeah, that's awesome. Because everywhere I look up here, it's not as readily available. That's okay. When it is, though, it's one of those things like, you have it in mind, so if you do find it somewhere, definitely pick it up. I'm adding a little bit of yellow. This is what Sir Cobalt and Inky, you were talking about, like wet on wet, and adding like ink to, or fountain pen ink to water when it's wet, and then just sort of watching the ink spread. It's so satisfying. But also it's a great way of like blending and getting some ink colors, incorporating some ink colors into other colors, right? So you can add water and dilute them. You can also add other colors and blend them. And it's just like a fun way of coming up with, new colors and new ways of enjoying your ink. And then you can also, when you're exploring inks, you can also find combinations that work really well together, like yellow and purple. There's something really nice about like yellow and violets. Move this over a little bit. There we go. I'm like in my own world painting over here. The ink spread is the best. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's right, Circle Vault. Like, just, you could make shadows that way, or like darker shades, obviously. And then it spreads to lighter shades. Yeah, it's so much fun. It really is. We'll get Brad there. We'll get Brad exploring inks in a messier and fun way. All right, let's see. This red vampire pigeon ink is a shimmer ink, and there's something satisfying about painting with shimmer inks too, because when it dries, like when you're painting with it, and it's wet, you're kind of like, you see a little bit of that shimmer coming through, but when it dries, it's like a surprising sort of enjoyment to see the shimmers. Is anyone going to any upcoming pen shows? What's the next one? Baltimore? I booked my flights for SF, so I am definitely, and I have my hotel, so I'm definitely going to be at the SF Pen Show, and just planning out the workshops now. So hopefully that will be confirmed and all good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to teaching my class again and enabling more people to paint and have fun with ink. So hopefully that will happen and it'll be all good. Baltimore is soon, yeah. I have heard a lot about the Baltimore pen show. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully everything goes well with it. And then Chicago, I think. I've heard a lot about the Chicago Stationery Fest and pen show. Your next show is Arkansas in a few weeks. Ooh, that's fun. How does that compare to SF or California? Is it a different vibe, different? Is it similar in terms of modern vintage split? I'm hoping I can do more classes this year at SF. I'm just so bad at finding when registrations open and they sell out fast. Sir Cobalt, I I totally get that. I know some of those classes go really, really quickly, as do nib appointments, right? You have to be on top of them for some of them. And some of them they'll have openings or availabilities. Like I find usually the classes that are through Travelers Company or, for example, like Abby C's classes last year went super, super quick. Rewizzles, I've given up Chicago plans. Maybe SF will replace it. Or just no travel. Oh, you have a home show, Colorado. Oh, that's a nice one, isn't it? Yeah, I think I'm happy, going to as many pen shows as I can, even though I only go to 2 per year. But if I was able to add more, that would be so fun. But at the same time, too, I'm just happy, to be able to go to one. I feel like at least once a year is like my minimum, if possible. This is the one. Yeah. If possible. I would also like to, because I'm in Canada, I would love to go to Canadian pen shows. There's one in Montreal. There's one in Toronto every year, Scriptus. But it's like a one-day affair. So, and it's the busiest, right? Because it's one day. And for me to, and there isn't one in Vancouver, which, you know, it would be great if there was, but there isn't. So for me to fly out to Toronto or Montreal, it's just asking a lot for like one day, right? So that's why for me it's, I'd rather do SF or somewhere where it's like a weekend thing. So if I am flying somewhere and I have to stay in a hotel and stuff, it sort of makes sense to go to a pen show that's more than one day. But yeah, we'll see. That's a benefit of a smaller show. Less to look at, but also less competition for nib grinding slots. Yeah, that's kind of like the California Pen Show versus SF Pen Show, right? Like, if you want to get a nib grinding slot or just like spend time with a nib specialist or like look at a table without having people, you know, right behind you, the smaller shows are definitely a great place to do that kind of stuff. Even though, yes, you may have less vendors and less options, but more hangouts with people too, right? It's a little bit more intimate, so it's a little fun that way. Circle ball, you don't think you've ever had luck with nib grinders? Does it work if you lurk at their booths until they have an opening? Actually, I just answered my own question because I was hanging out at Dustin and Annabelle's table, and Annabelle had like a last minute cancellation or something like that, and Dustin was like, "Oh, well, if you want, if you want to slot in there." I didn't have enough fountain pens with me to get anything done, but if I had, I would have, I would definitely have been like, "Yep, I have something." So yes, that actually does work. I like that technique, Sir Cobalt. Just hang out. Maybe that's what I need to do. Here we go. Instead, what I do is just hang out on Gina's website, and when Gina announces that there's appointments opening up, I literally sit there and refresh and just click on whatever time slot is available at the second. Because Gina's appointments, they go so super quick. Which I totally understand because Gina is like so great at nibs and just like knowing how to get it to your writing style. All of them are. All the nib specialists I've used are amazing. Like pretty much all of them, I don't spend a lot of time like going back and forth just because just looking at the way I'm holding the pen and, you know, when I do like a sample writing or something, right away, they kind of understand, you know, how to angle something. And so when I get the nib back and I test it, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. Only a few times do I have to kind of, you know, you also have to focus and like take a deep breath when you're testing it just to make sure it does actually fit your the way that you write, that it's not scratchy or uncomfortable or whatever. Arkansas is pretty small. It'll be my first time there. Oh, awesome, Olive Octopus. We'll have fun. It's a lot of the community I'm closest to. Oh, okay. Oh, like Vanessa and TGS. Oh, I'm really curious. Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like it'll be a good time. So, and I feel like, and I think we kind of said this too after the California Pen Show, right? Like, a lot of the show is about the people that go and the people that you hang out with, right? And meeting people from online in real life is like super special, especially when, you know, we don't see faces when we're engaging online and when we're chatting and stuff. And so when we meet in person, it's kind of like, oh, you know, I can put a face to a username. It's awesome. It's so much fun. And everyone in the community that I've met is super chill and really fun to be around. So you can nerd out with them all, right? So going to a show where you're able to do that is awesome. Atlanta show on Sunday was Nib Grinding Heaven. Good to know. Oh, Needle Girl, hi. Nib grinding in Atlanta. Interesting. Well, Atlanta is one of those places that is on my list. So maybe one of these years. And I love peaches. And peach pie. Fountain pen news, you just got back a Spencerian modification from Gina this week. Ooh, I don't think I've tried the Spencerian, but it does sound like it would be really good. So enjoy. I've gone to 2 different countries to visit streamers I've built connections with. That's awesome, Sir Cobalt. Yeah, I would have never thought to do that too, but it sounds like it's really fun. And like, obviously, you know, you build connections and you build on those relationships. And if you want to meet people, right, like, it's a good thing. It's always going to be a good thing. It's fun. Hello, I've been lurking and working. That's the way to do it, Needle Girl. Thank you. I would love to. I've been to Atlanta once a few years ago, but not for the pen show. So definitely the pen show is on my list, as are quite a few pen shows. I should branch out a little bit more. I'm kind of like in the, you know, California zone. It's easy for me to get to, and I know it's going to be a good time, but I definitely need to get out of my zone and fly east. It's amazing fountain pen news. Oh, now you have me curious. You're filming a Flexploration about it today. Okay, awesome. I'd love to see. Yeah, you love to travel to shows too. I know, it's so fun, right? Like, it's an experience to travel to shows, to fly, or even like do a road trip if you can. I'm hoping to do a road trip this year actually to Portland for PNW, because it's a smaller show and also it's not too far from me, so it might be like a family road trip for a day or 2. But hopefully I can do that. Hopefully we can swing that, because that would be kind of fun. So this is almost dry, and I am going to use let's see. Always have blotter paper here. That dried really well. Here we go. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna draw on here. There we go. I tried Gina's Spencerian and I'm strongly considering sending them a pen to modify. Oh no! So now I have to try Gina's Spencerian. I tried the, so I had a nib grinding appointment with Gina at the California Pen Show, and I got a reverse architect done by them, and it writes beautifully. I am in love. And then while I was there, while Gina was working on the nib, I tried the perspective grind because I am a huge fan of the Naginata and the Techo nib and CY's Sankaksen. And I've also tried Kirk's Tanto. Anyway, so I've tried a few variations of that sort of grind, and I tried this perspective grind while I was there, or the perspective nib, and someone asked Gina if they sold nibs that were custom ground, just the nib itself, so like a pre-ground nib, and Gina was like, yes, I do, and pulled out this little toolbox of nibs that had been pre-ground in, nice little box thingy, display case. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to now get the perspective nib pre-ground to throw into one of my pens, and I did, and it writes really nicely. So if you do get something ground by them, and you can also buy a pre-ground nib, just something to consider. So 2 ways I'm going to draw on top of this. The flowers is just a fountain pen with platinum carbon ink. I just like throw the cartridge in here, and it's a good on the go pen and ink. So we're just going to do a little bit of that, and then I'm going to use my Kakimori stainless steel nib in this really gorgeous nib holder. This was a collaboration between Amarillo Stationery, and it was made by River City Pen Company, Rich. And it's like one of my I love this colorway, love this nib holder, and the Kakimori nib is pretty good too. Oh, this paper feels really nice. But Olive, I agree that like this is similar to Cosmo Air, like Cosmo Air Light, in terms of probably being better for art than for writing, personally, because it has that same sort of like shiny texture feel. And for some reason, I'm not super into it for writing, like journaling or anything like that. But I am into it for drawing and like sketching on. Little me. Someone says Eric or Amarillo and Gamma Gamma shows up. You've been lurking. Thanks, friend. You're the best. So I'm going to use the Kakimori pigment ink in black, which I don't put into a fountain pen, but it is my go-to drawing ink. I love drawing with the pigment ink, the Kakimori pigment ink. Just so nice and dark and pigmented. Great on watercolor, great on ink. Speaking of Gamma Gamma, I saw Amarillo on the vendor list for SF Pen Show. That made me smile because I'll get to meet you in real life. And I can't wait. I mean, I would make it out to Chicago one of these years just so we can hang and go to the pen show and do all those fun things. But I love that SF will be our party. Yes, I'll be there. Yay. I know, I can't wait either. It'll be so fun. Oh, pretty ink pony. Thanks, Indy. It is kind of pretty, isn't it? Those inks look really, really nice. I'm glad I went with my Tom Studio inks. They are nice and vibrant, I will say that. And then this quirky leaf color for leaves. Love it. So good. Thank you. Yeah, I think the only real difference between snow and light is that snow is brighter. Yeah. I have a Kalamazoo notebook. I just write lyrics and sketching. Oh, that's a great idea of using the notebook, Olive. I think Julia on Brad's stream yesterday or the day before mentioned that the difference between snow and light is that light is like a creamier color, which surprised me because I never noticed that Cosmo Air Light is like a off-white color. I always thought it was really white. But now I have to kind of look at it and compare and stuff. So, but yeah, maybe I guess that would be the difference then. Snow is brighter. And that makes sense in terms of the naming too, right? It does look very white. Very snow-like. One of these days I'll cross with Amarillo at a show. Oh, yes. Amarillo needs to be at every show. Eric, you do so many shows already, but I feel like you need to be at every show because everyone needs to meet you. Okay, I'm thinking if I should add more, but I think I'm good. Should I add like some like shadow and stuff? No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm good. I'm very happy with this. I love these colors. It's so vibrant. Wow. Ink Pony. Ink Pony. Ink Pony Club. Another successful ink pony. I think they're all successful. They're so much fun. It doesn't matter how you color it in or paint or use whatever you want. They always look so fun. I don't think you could go wrong with an ink pony. Yeah, the purple and blue. This is like a really dark, like teal. This is the color. And it's called Neptune. And it is like it leans blue, right? But it's like a really dark tealish shade. It's very, very nice. And the purple is just so nice. I love this peaches and cream, which actually I thought it was lighter than it looks, than it turned out to be on paper. When I first bought it, I thought, this would be fun to color, like to paint with and use. And then when I inked up a pen, I thought it was really light. But actually, I think it would be fine. It's sort of this like pale pink color. I'll show you here now that it's dry. This peaches and cream is actually really nice. So let's do a little bit of drawing on here. Let's move this. They are all beautiful, Olive Octopus. It doesn't matter who did it or how they did it. They're all really, really cool. And it's all just like, ink exploration, right? Like it's all just having fun with colors. And surprisingly, some of those colors look really, vibrant, and they work so well together, and there's no real way of knowing that until you play with inks. All right. Teal turquoise. Yeah, it's really pretty. You don't love peach like I love purples and blues. Yeah, I mean, peach is not my go-to. Neither are pinks, really. Like pink, red. I would love to be that person that is into really bright ink colors, but I have to admit, a lot of the bright and fun colors I tend to paint with. Unless I'm pushing myself to ink up a pen to match the pen. So if like I'm picking an ink to match the pen and the pen has bright colors in it, then I will push myself to, ink up a bright color into a pen. But my go-to, like what I'm naturally drawn to, are like the blues, the greens, teals, and then purple is sort of like my next step. Like purple is when I'm kind of like, ooh, I feel like something out of the norm, and I go with a purple. But yeah, pinks and reds and things like that, I'm kind of like, or green. I also like green, but that's similar to like teal and blue, so. I really like this violet yellow combination too. Ooh, and this, we're just a little bit of the purples in there, but it looks kind of like a burnt brown. That's really fun. And now it's a party. Zodiac Pens has arrived. You're a little bit late, but yes. Oh. Everyone here makes this a party. This is the Friday Ink Pony Club party. I do have a hot pink shimmer that I like. Oh, Indy, you're going with the hot pink shimmers. Yeah. I mean, I do have a lot of like pink, some red, a little bit of orange yellow, but like, and I think that's our way of like being a little bit like taking risks, like we go with the bright shades because we want that brightness in our lives. But yeah, I agree. A good mauve is also on my list. Like if I find a good sort of like purpley pink shade, then I'm happy. It's a very pretty yellow too. Yeah. That's the Amarillo Antiquo. The pansy looking florals. I know, right? I did not expect that. I didn't expect that to come out the way it did. It's very pretty. We need to try doing that a little bit more. Your favorite crayon growing up was magenta, Indy? Yeah. It's yeah, that color is a reddish, but it's closer to purple. Yeah, magenta is really nice too. like a good deep color. I just got a Jet Pens order which has Sailor Nibiru. Ooh, yes, or Cobalt. Didn't need it, but it looked nice. I saw Jonathan Brooks using it at his table to like test nibs at the California Pen Show, and it is such a nice green color. So I immediately put it on my wish list because I need to pick up a bottle of it too. It's really, really nice. Yeah. Didn't need it, but you know what? I feel like we all kind of need like certain staple shades, and green is one of those. So I don't know. I like having some really good greens in my collection. Like not just for painting, but just like it's a very calming color, right? So to offset some of the anxiety that we feel. Although if Brad does release an ink called Anxiety, I will also get that. Also, I love how Zodiac Pens just dropped in, started the party, and then dipped. Ghosted out of the party. Or he went to get the the wine bottle with the fountain pen on it, the fountain pen nib. Zodiac Pens has commissions to work on. I know. You're still here. I'm so glad. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing you. Green paint will actually make a room cooler. Oh, yes. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Now, what pens do you have, Zodiac Pens, that have a nice green shade to them? That's what we need to know. Oh, all of you just inked up Nibiru too. Nibiru, yeah, Nibiru. The Amarillo Pannonia inks page in the ink archiving book I did, mixing the yellow, pink, and blue into all the colors, is one of my favorites. Oh, amazing. Have I seen it? Show us. Show me. I want to see. Let me see. I sent Brad an email about using some watercolor techniques with his FP ink paintings. I won't tell your boss because it's very important that you did that. Thank you. I feel like we all kind of wanted to push Brad a little bit on watercolor techniques or adding water. So yes. Wendy Sue is way at the back of the list. Oh no, fountain pen use. You're not getting a pen. You're dropping your March acrylic pens tomorrow. Shamrock green and white cracked ice. No, no. Oh no. Way to go with the temptations, Zodiac. That's awesome. No, that's awesome. That sounds really, really good. Yeah, shamrock color, you know, greens in general, like March, spring, I feel like they're so in. Like anything green and you know, foliage, florally, leafy is like, this is the time. This is the time. You survived the mountain fall, but I don't want to talk about the fountain pen news falling down a cliff because I totally missed that point, and I thought it was like I thought it was like, we all fall down a cliff and get into fountain pens. But apparently that was like a legit thing that happened, and I'm really sorry that happened. But I'm also very glad that you got into fountain pens. And now you're one of us. So yes, we will not talk about the cliff and we will not make fun. But it is kind of funny. It is hilarious. Thank you. Oh no. It is hilarious. It's one of those stories that like you'll never live down, that you fell down a cliff. Because that would have been very terrifying. But also because it's how you got into fountain pens, or how you sort of spend time with fountain pens. Got more time with fountain pens, yeah. Green pens are my fave. Anything olive, really, yeah. And Ocean Sea Note are my favorite green pens. Oh, awesome. That's good to know. Taking some notes here. Okay, good to know. I love, like sort of this olivey yellow green shade. And then I also like deep greens, like forest green. Very, very pretty. Basically any type of green. And then greens that are, they're more tealish, and lean blue, also very, very nice. And again, like all very calming. In fact, Zodiac Pens is going to make me a pen to commemorate 1 year since my accident. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that pen when it gets done. Which now you're in the back of the line, so. Galen Leather has a new pen in olive agate. It's literally the best green pen blank ever produced. Really? Oh, I love Galen Leather. Yeah, I like the pens that they have too. It's very cool. Like they have good taste in the pens that they offer, collaboration wise and such. Also, I feel like at the California Pen Show, I didn't get to look very closely at pens. Like even yours, Bart. I didn't, like I sort of looked at them as like a whole, but I would love to spend more time like actually looking at the different pens, the different materials, the colors, and then picking one that I like. But yeah, I may have also kind of focused on like the model types and what each sort of model uniqueness was. Yeah, I'd love to explore them more at the next show that you're at and that I come to. You have that resin in stock? Yeah. Custom resin by Turn Pen Co. Hopefully you'll get it before the 2-year anniversary. Well, it just means fountain pen use, that you just have to keep commissioning Zodiac pens for every single year so that, you sort of get them a year apart. Right? Well, I like how these turned out. I think I love the peaches and cream ink from Tom's Studio. Went really well with Amarillo Antiguo, the yellow and the peach, and the quirky leaf green as well. Like that, those three sort of ink shades are so pretty together. And then Amarillo Antiguo and the iris shade from Tom's Studio. That's so pretty. I have to do a little bit more of those, that combination. And then Vampire Pigeon from Robert Oster and Atlas. That collaboration is a deep red. Like it actually surprises me how nice that red is. Like it's a deep sort of maroon with a little bit of orange kind of in that red too. And I think here you sort of see a little bit of that shimmer, which is like a dark purpley shimmer, pink purple. Sort of here too. And then that teal's always really nice. I love teal. That yellow is fire, isn't it? That yellow is fire. And I can't wait. So I ordered Fire on Fire on Fire from Brad. And it's on its way to me because I'd missed the first batch. And so I had to order it from the second batch. But I can't wait to play with that and then also add like yellows and reds and see how that turns out. But I imagine Fire on Fire on Fire is really fun to paint with as well. And also to ink up. Like I'm sure it looks amazing in fountain pens. Yes, he has it for sale again, Zodiac. Go check. I think like it should still be in stock. But definitely check it out. Let me see if I can. Fire on Fire on Fire. Let me see if I can. There we go. There you go. There's the link. That shimmer in Fire on Fire on Fire really changes color based on direction too. Light to dark, really? That's interesting. Wow. Oh, I can't wait to play with it. I gave away most of my bottles, so if it's still in stock by the end of the weekend, I'll get more. Yeah, you know. When you're sharing samples, and I'm sure you've used quite a bit of it too, you end up having to stock up. So we have that. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of the purple and the yellow on here, just because we have time, and also because I want to see a little bit more. What are you up to, Zodiac? Are you making pens right now? Are you working on stuff? Let's see. There's a purple. Yellow. There we go. Show prep for Baltimore next weekend. Ah, that is next weekend. Show prep. Yeah. Gotta get ready for the show. It's fun too. Good times. What is your favorite show to be at Zodiac Pens? Do you have a favorite, or do they sort of vary enough that they don't feel like comparable? So I'm gonna let that dry. So there's one ink pony. I actually have another ink pony. There we go. This one is my third and last from the show. It's slight white. It is very white. Ooh, it's very white. Curious about that. Maybe I'll do that one too. Okay, let's do a yellow pony. Your favorite show? All right, we're doing a yellow pony. But I'm going to add a little bit of peach to it, I think, and a little bit of red. So do a little bit more of a pink pony. Pink pony with ink. This is interesting paper too. I like it. kind of a pony on fire. Fire on fire pony. Reddish, orange, yellow. That's okay. Portland is small and personal. I really like that. CA was amazing support and my best show ever. So it's now at the top. Atlanta's nice because it's close and everyone sounds like me. Orlando is a fun show with lots to do after hours. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. DC is not my favorite. It's too crowded. Yeah. But I love seeing more makers and customers in person. Yeah. That's awesome, Zodiac Pens. That's a good sort of roundup. And really good to know too. Yeah. I mean, there's a balance between, like, you have Portland, which is small and personal, and then you have DC, which is a mega show, but then also, you know, a lot of exposure there. So people are getting to know your brand and your pens. And then Orlando, where you're kind of like hanging out with people, chatting. I think you mentioned in California that Orlando, you may not like sell things at the show, but that you sell things afterwards, right? Like, so people sort of come visit your table, talk to you, get to know your products, and then kind of walk away and think, okay, I'm gonna check this out online and buy things, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna do green. I sold more pens after Orlando via website purchases to Florida and commissions to Florida than I did. That's so funny. You ready to make an ink pony with me this time when I see you? Did you not make any ink ponies in California, Zodiac? Were you too busy chatting? I'm just kidding. I didn't make any in California too. I was like too intimidated, too LT wheels. Hi. Or do you mean boop? Oh. So we have the green. I'm gonna do purple maybe. Boops are good too. Hope you are doing well. I'm doing great. It's a Friday. We're just doing some chill painting and chatting. We're coloring in some ink ponies. And we're also doing some abstract floral art and drawing that in. I'm just waiting for this to dry. So painting with fountain pen inks and drawing on top. Yeah, just having fun. Absolutely, we're besties now. Oh, I love that. I hope this, I hope you don't get tired of doing this ink pony thing, Olive, because I feel like more people are getting into it. And also I feel like there's just, we can keep doing this. We can keep painting and coloring ink ponies. exploring inks, exploring colors, being part of the Ink Pony Club. It's a great way to use up those sample inks too. How are you doing, LT Wheels? How's your Friday going? Indy, you need ink dragonflies. Ooh. Ooh, there should be like a whole line of different different things. Let's do, this is red. All right, let's add a little bit of red in the hair. Thanks for following, LT Wheels. Appreciate that you're here. Now this is a brighter sort of rainbow-ish pony. Some of those brighter colors in there, which I love too. Maybe we should put some flowers in here too. Let's do it. What color is this? All right, I'm gonna use a little bit more of Amarillo. I thought it might last a few weeks with the Twitch family, but I feel like Olive, it can last for a while. LT Wheels Twitch is more fun, especially when you're just hanging out and it's super chill. You have a few other vectors you can adapt. Ooh, yes. Few other vectors. I love that dragonfly idea, especially because, like, yes, you can use bright colors. You can make it sort of like, you could have like a scene, right? Like you could paint in a scene or color in a scene too. Dragonflies are cool. So I'm gonna use that yellow. Just put some paint down and we'll see where it goes. Some teal. That's the green. Some purple violet. And then some of that green for leaves, quirky leaf. Dragonflies with flowers. Now you're talking, Indy. They need sparkly wings. Yes, kind of like, yeah, like butterflies. Anything that has wings, hummingbirds. They just sort of lend to sparkly inks, shimmer inks. Yeah, that's perfect. I love that idea, Indy. Gotta use those shimmer inks. I'd happily do seminars at shows and Twitch, of course. 1000% into people painting more. Yes, I know, Olive. You are such a great encouragement for people who, you know, like Brad and, you know, like others, or even me, right? Just to get like I said before, I don't really do a lot of like coloring with paints and inks. And I feel like I should do a lot more of that. It's just so relaxing, right? Like and really fun. And I'm going to let this dry. But yeah, you're really good at encouraging people and getting them to do it even at the show. Like just taking out your inks and getting people to do it on the spot. Like Kimberly and other people. And like Zodiac pens at the next pen show. Right? Just to have fun with inks. Like, don't overthink it too much. And just like take it out, have fun. That's what Fridays are for me. That's why I'm doing this on stream, because I love the company and I love just kind of, you know, having fun and exploring and stuff. All of these colors, they're really nice. So this has a little bit more to dry, so I think I'm gonna expedite this a little bit. There we go. A little bit of blotter paper. All right. I love too that this one is like sort of a mellow version. The colors are just, you know, really nice and mellow, and this one comes in. It's like hot. This pony's running hot. Just depends on what mood we're in, doesn't it? And the colors. Oh, thanks, Olive. That's really nice of you to say. Yeah, I know. It is about like doing things intuitively sometimes, right? And taking risks and just having fun and playing. Yeah, you love the bright one, Indy? I kind of do too. It's just so fun. It's like, yeah. It's like a sun pony. Just so bright. That's me. I love listening to the interactions while I'm turning pens. Oh, we are in the shop with you, Zodiac. We're there trying to distract you from turning pens. Trying to get you to be part of the Ink Pony Club. Yeah. You're like the ink dealer, and now you're like the Ink Pony Club and others and friends. Ink Pony Club and friends curator. Ink ponies. Yeah, I can't wait to see where these sort of ink ponies and drawings go to next. I can definitely see a whole family of drawings, and then sort of build. Ooh, you could build your own archival book, Olive Octopus. Your own coloring book. Like your library book of of ink ponies and other things that we can color and paint. Gonna find my inner Bob Ross. You can do it, Zodiac Pens. We know you can. You have it in you. Now my trench coat is not just full of ink swatches and samples. The other side is now ink ponies. Yes. Yeah, glass stir rods and water brushes and nibs. You brought your Colorverse shuttle nibs, and then you had Kakimori nibs too. So pointed nibs too. Yeah. Your trench coat and your rickshaw bags. That's what we use to store all of our tools and inks, and handy, isn't it? Mary Poppins bag. You're just pulling things out of there. I didn't even know you could fit like a whole desk mat into like one of your bags, or you had like a whole ink swatching setup, which is amazing. I loved watching him when I was young. Bob Ross, yeah. He begged for paints and canvas because everyone wants to be like him. I totally get it. So cool. Bob Ross is cool. Okay, now we're back to this. How pretty is that? Yellow and purple violet color. Let's move this out of the way. So yeah, so now that I've colored or painted on the ink ponies that I had, I'm gonna have to print them out on other paper that I have, so we can keep exploring different ink colors and create different types of ponies for this club. All right, I'm just gonna there you go. That's really nice. I'm fully insane. No, you were prepared. You were prepped. You had all the stuff that you use for streaming. That's amazing. I love that you had all that with you, because like, you know, I always kind of say, like, let's paint, let's have some fun with inks and things like that. But when it comes down to it, especially at a pen show, it's so busy and you're kind of overwhelmed by the show itself and being there and experiencing like all the things, right? Like all the stimulation of seeing pens and inks and stuff, that you kind of have to force yourself to take a moment and step away from it all and just hang out, right? So like I loved when we hung out before the show and just kind of like chatted and looked at swatches and stuff. And then after the show, like after hours, hanging out and playing with inks and trying like the different nibs and stuff. And that's why workshops are also good, right? Because you kind of force yourself to like get out of the show mode and just sit down and have some fun and create things. And I feel like pen shows are great at inspiring us, and we're kind of in that like, oh, I want to play with inks, and I want to like use the stuff that I have. And when we have a space to do that, it's really enjoyable. So I loved all of Octopus that you had all your stuff with you because then people could actually like play with inks and color and draw, and it's, it gives us something to do too. Like I love chatting and like, meeting people and talking about stuff, but at the same time when there's like, just that little bit of like group chatter, it's great to also do stuff during that time because it's a good hangout, right? It's a good hangout, kind of like what we're doing now, just kind of hanging out and talking, but also sane is overrated and boring. Yes, I agree. Sane is overrated and boring. We're a little bit weird, right? Which is totally fine because we love this hobby and we love playing with inks and doing fun stuff like this, and we get really into it. So we're a little out of the norm, but what is norm? This is norm. Yeah, like when I talk about like pens that I have inked up and the different nibs that I have and like custom ground nibs and how they're perfect for my writing style, I always kind of think like, who would be interested in that? Like who is actually really into the same things, right? So when you find those people, when you find people like you and this community who are that into, such a niche of a hobby, it's amazing because when you're kind of like, in real life, when you're talking to friends who don't really have that same interest and you're like talking about whatever it is, like it could be planners and journals and like, oh, my Hobonichi weeks and whatever. When you find people who are actually like, yes, I get it. It's a good feeling. It's really fun. And that's why pen shows are fun and meetups are fun. And doing this online is fun too. Like it's inspiring and it keeps me going because people are also into it. Multitasking, yeah. That's what we do. Doing lots of things, hanging out, chatting, but also this is kind of like, it lets us be a little bit introverted in a way because you can, focus on art or focus on doing something else, but you're also talking, you're also socializing, but it's just not as exhausting maybe to have like constant one-on-one conversation. But you can still be in that vibe, you can still be in that environment while also doing art or doing, other things, playing with pens as we do. I think that also helps the introverted. Yeah, exactly. Socially anxious. Yeah. Exactly. All of Octopus. That's exactly it. Like, especially if, all of those things, like you could be introverted. Like I love hanging out with people and talking about art and this sort of stuff, fountain pens. But I also like, I feel exhausted after the pen show. I was exhausted for days because it takes a lot out of you to, you know, like to share and to talk, to socialize, and be around people in a way that, you know, you're conversing. And if you take moments in that time to do things that kind of get you out of having to focus on people or having to focus on always contributing to a conversation, it's it's kind of like a socially acceptable way of not being part of a conversation all the time, I think. You know, people don't feel like you're ignoring them or that you don't want to be there, which is not true. Like, you know, we all want to be part of a community or a group who understands us. And part of that is we all have our little quirks and ways of sort of dealing with overwhelm and overstimulation. Indie, is it hard to get started streaming? It's not, if you know, sort of, if you have some of the technology, like I have a microphone, you know, have some sort of camera. I'm using my phone for now, but if you have some of the technology up front, and also I spend a lot of time sort of looking at or watching YouTube videos on how to stream on Twitch, because even though I have been on, like, I go on Twitch to join streams and watch streams and chat and things like that, I don't know a lot about the behind the scenes stuff. So just like how to set up different things like layouts and stuff like that. I did watch a lot of YouTube videos to try and understand the technology and the like technical stuff behind it. So it's not that hard, but I feel like there's a lot of little tips and tricks, and watching YouTube videos really helped me. But you can always reach out to people, to streamers, to ask questions too, if that's something you want to do. I'm an extreme extrovert, and I was that for 2 weeks after Philly. That's interesting, fountain pen news. Yeah. Like I feel like there's sort of like obviously there's a mix of, you know, introverts, extroverts, everyone in between too. And it's kind of interesting to see, like, you know, how we sort of share that energy, just being around each other. But then also we give each other space when we need it, right? And I found that really helpful at the pen show too, where, you know, you're in that environment where there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things to look at, and you're kind of making decisions in the moment of like things that you need to buy or look at and pick up. And it's real. That's why I always kind of say, like, you have to step away from the show and take a breather, like go outside, have some food, you know, just chill for a little bit, because it's a lot. It's a lot for anyone to take, whether or not you're introverted or extroverted or somewhere in between. Also, a socially acceptable way of being silent together. Yes, I know. I kind of like those, I like even Olive Octopus's streams where we're just kind of like, I'm just watching Olive swatching inks on those beautiful cards and taking notes on what inks I want to look into later. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to have like conversation and stuff like that, but it's also kind of nice just to be around people online or offline who get you, and they're kind of into the same thing, so it's totally understandable, you know, like you're just gonna whip out some ink and play with them. That's totally normal. It's fine. You're not old, Indy. You can learn. Though I say that and I felt old trying to figure this out, and I'm 40. So I was like, technology. I mean, trying to figure out like layouts and how, how things sort of work together. It's like trying to figure out platforms, and but once you do, it's not that hard. And then it's just like playing around with where things go on the screen and stuff. I'm able to do a lot more now that I'm more conscious of regulating. Yeah. Yeah. I agree, Olive Octopus. Like, I have certain things I need to do. So like at shows, like I think we sort of talked about this on one of Brad's Twitch streams too. Like, there's certain things, like I need my own space, right? So when I like book a hotel room, it's just me. Like, I just need to be in my own space, in my own room, because that's where I escape to, right? Like after hours, which is so fun, talking to people after the show. It's a great time, but at the same time, I also like, I need that time to just decompress, right? Just spend some quiet time. I usually go over like what I purchased, or I plan what I'm going to look at the next day. It's just like a time to sort of come down from like being on that social high, right? When you're like just constantly on, and you're having fun, you're in a conversation, but then at the same time, you kind of need that time to come down from that a little bit, come down to, your level. I totally get it. So yeah, I do have rules for myself too at shows, and I try and get people to sort of like, at the California Pen Show, I was kind of like, if anyone needs like to just step away, grab a coffee, I'm in, or if you need to like hang out in the lounge area and just chill, I'm good, and we don't need to talk. We don't need to have like a bunch of conversation. It's fine. We could just sit there and just, take it all in. Hi, community time. I just caught your comment. Flowers and unicorns. Yeah, unicorns. The Ink Pony Club. Unicorns are the best kind of ponies. Best kind of horse. Yeah. I love Olive's drawing on the ink swatches. Just saw your comment, Indy. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I love Olive's drawings and swatches. And I hope you do more of them, Olive. Like drawings and stuff. I would love to stream while I make pens, but I wouldn't be able to keep up with the chat. I need to hear the messages, not read them. Yeah, Zodiac pens. I know, once you sort of get into something, it's like, gotta actually like look up and look at the comments every once in a while. Every once in a while. Like, it's okay. I think we sort of understand too that like if you're doing something, especially like, you're making pens or whatever, you sort of have to be in the zone too, right? And I think we kind of understand that. So I would love for you to stream while you make pens. I would watch that. And if you were like, just don't distract me for the next 5 minutes, it's all good. We could all just hang out. We could talk to each other in the chat. Or we could just highlight our comments that you need to respond to, and then everything else is fine. At one point I came out to the lobby and found the crew and said, is this where we're decompressing? Yes. Yeah, I think there were a couple times where, there was one time where Brad and I were sitting in the lobby, like we had a coffee, and a few people sort of joined us as well. Like as they came out of the show, you can kind of look at their face and be like, do you need some time to just chill? Because that's what we're doing here. Come join. Because everyone sort of has that face of like, I just saw a lot of cool stuff and I just need to like... Yeah. Yeah, inky. I was using this shimmer ink from like the Robert Oster Atlas shimmer ink, but I actually didn't. It sort of comes through in the flowers a little bit. But I feel like I need to, yeah, I don't know if it sort of comes out here, but I need to print out a few more of these ink ponies for next week. And maybe one of my streams will be like shimmer inks. So let's do that one of these times. We're just going to use shimmer inks and we're going to go nuts on glitter. Like glitter everywhere, excuse me. Just like all the fun, bright. I'll find like pinks and yeah, pinks, reds, purple. Anything else that's like super, super fun. We'll do it. Oh, you got those at the California Pen Show. Are you talking about the ink ponies community time? Yeah. I know. Maybe I will try that when I make the pen for fountain pen use. Yes, you can't mess that up. Because falling down a cliff was bad enough. Fountain pen use does not need a messed up pen to go with it. Luke from Papa J was using Meta Ray-Bans. Oh, the glasses with a camera. Yes, I saw that. That was so cool. Yeah. And he got chat to read to him, which looked great. Would someone do a non-meta version that would work on Twitch? Yeah. I mean, someone needs to get on that. That would be cool. And then Zodiac Pens could use that. So the Ink Ponies community time. Ink Pony. Go here. They are Olive Octopus's illustrations that you can get. You could download them and print them onto paper. And if you have fountain pen friendly paper, that's cool. If not, HP Premium 32 pound would work. That's sort of my go-to, is like a really nice printer paper. Yeah, no worries. And then you can color them in, paint, draw, whatever medium you sort of want to use. If you have inks, obviously you can color in with inks. And then take a photo and send it to Olive Octopus. All that information is on the site. And then I'm also gonna shout out Olive Octopus because Lisa does a lot of swatching and drawing and coloring or painting with inks and stuff on stream. Super fun. So it's also a good hangout. We have a casual coffee chat at work over Zoom. And we have some fountain pen fans and family members who are collectors. That's cool. Yeah, that is a good chat. One co-worker's mom has a glass table she uses to show off her fountain pen collection. That's awesome. I love when you find people who are into fountain pens that like that, right, through work or family or whatever, and then you're kind of like, oh, you're into this too. It's such a niche thing to be into, right? Like my mother-in-law lives in New Zealand and visited us in December, and mentioned in passing, like, she knows I'm really into fountain pens, but mentioned in passing that she was open to using fountain pens, and she's kind of like, she has really neat handwriting, and and her style is very like reserved. And so I got her a Pilot Metropolitan, and it was like I think it was like the gray colorway, so it's like this deep gray color, and a gray, any Pilot really is a great starter pen. And so I got that and like a bunch of ink cartridges. And so bye fountain pen news. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next time. And so, so I was like, if I can enable someone, I will. And so she tried it and she loves it. And it's really easy because it's click, right? Like, it's a clicky cap. So there's no, it's not hard to use at all. So she loves it. But it's always kind of fun to meet people in your inner circle or, close to you that, you're like, yes, let's talk fountain pens. Let's talk, inks and stuff. I updated the site text last night to be a little clearer. Oh, good. I looked at it this morning, actually, all of Octopus, and it looked great. Like, it had the information. Because I was like, where should I send the photos and stuff like that? So, or like, what do I do? Do I take a photo of it? So, yeah. Well, that's the one with the houndstooth pattern. Yes, community time. That's the one. Yeah. And it was just based on also like the nibs, like she loves writing like sort of fine, right? Like her writing style is like a fine writing style. So I got her a fine nib and that sort of nice colorway, like it's understated, I think. Right? Because it has a pattern, but the pattern is not so like in your face. Like it's not, like it doesn't look, too much. It doesn't look like it's too extra. Yeah. That's why. So, all right, let's see. This is done. And these are also done. So I'm going to take photos of these and send them to you. All of Octopus. Happy Friday, Pal Gal. Hi. Happy Friday indeed. We're just doing some casual painting and some drawing, some florals, and we've got some ink ponies. Hi. You made it. It is different than IG. Hi, I'm so glad you made it though. Yay. I am excited. Yay. Yeah, no worries, Olive. Yeah, so were you lurking or are you just joining now? Because we did some painting earlier and I was going through some of the inks that I was using. And it's kind of like inks everywhere, basically. I had some fun with yellow and these ones. Tom Studio. I don't know if you've heard of Tom Studio, but also the line of inks. They're really nice. I was curious, so I picked up a few in SF last year. And they're actually really nice. So they're basically these colors. Peaches and cream, which is like a really nice pink. A muted pink. And then purple. And this teal color too. I just joined. I'm so glad you joined. Sadly, I missed the fun. Yeah, it's okay. No, you didn't miss the fun. We're just we're just hanging out and we're enjoying what it sort of looks like. We're admiring the ink ponies now. This one's like super sunny. I think this is like a sunny ink pony. And then this is kind of like I don't know, like a pretty pony. Just prancing with the pretty flowers. And this one's kind of like the sunny, fiery pony. That's so OG, My Little Pony, the pink one. Yes, My Little Pony. You know what? That's what this actually reminds me of. Like My Little Pony, the pink, like the pale, muted pink one. Yeah, definitely. Throwback. Oh. There was, I went on vacation to the Dominican a number of years ago now. But one of the excursions that me and my now husband went on was like horse ride. So like we all went horseback and followed, the leader down valleys and sort of enjoyed the scenery and stuff. And everyone in this group they were all tall, right? So I was the only short person in that group. Short people problems is finding a horse that can that is not too big for you, right? So anyways, I was given sort of the shorter, smaller horse, pony-like, and we were in the back. The thing is, because this pony or horse was kind of the smaller of the group, it was also very fiery. And so what I would do was walk up to the horse in front of it and nip it in the butt a little bit. So kind of let's go. And so I kind of had to, apologize for my fiery horse. And this is kind of what, this is smaller than this horse, but it is more fiery and it has a lot more attitude. And yeah, so it was a good time. I love horses. I love ponies. And I especially like the short, smaller pony horses that have attitude. That would kind of nip everyone in the butt to get them going. My Little Pony growing up was peach orangish. Oh, with the gem eye. Yeah. My Little Ponies. So fun. OG pink ponies. Super cool. Yeah, these were so fun. Olive Octopus. Thank you so much for these. And I'm going to print out a few more to use different colorways, different colored inks too, and some bright ones, some shimmery ones too. Have you found any favorite paper, the ones that you really enjoyed painting on, Olive? From all the ones that you printed out, because you had quite a few. Because I think I really like this Cosmo Air Snow. It is very white, but it also takes ink really well. There's a little bit of ghosting there, but this does too, actually. But I know I threw down a lot of water on this. Did really well. You could sort of see the crinkliness. Yes, ink ponies. And then we did the flowers, so that's fun. Yeah, I love painting with these different inks too. I love how they went together. They work so well together. I'm gonna have to do some more next week too. I have a little bit of ink left. So I think I might do a little bit more painting because Paw Pal Girl is here. Do a little bit of painting before I take off. And how is your Friday going? How's the end to the week treating you? I don't think I can pick a favorite. I like appreciating their unique qualities. Yeah, good answer. And that totally makes sense. Slight white has more texture, which was cool with some more muted tones. Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the inks that you're using too, right? That totally makes sense. I find this one, slight white has more texture. Yeah. I find too, the colors look really nice on here. There's a little bit of, they shine a little bit. So it could just be like the whiteness of slight white. I like the, you can sort of see those brush, like where the ink pools a little bit in the brush strokes. Like the water drops. That's really cool too. So yeah, I mean, yeah, each paper is different and makes things look, depending on what ink and color you use, right? I'm so ready for the weekend. I know. Yeah, it's a long week. But also, it was a short month. So we're going into March, and hopefully March, I think March is going to be a fun month, especially for stationery. Lots of good things happening in March. And I think, yeah, and we're going into spring and warmer temperatures in general. So you can use the same inks and get different looks, which is, yeah, either fun or infuriating. I'm okay with unexpected surprises as well. I agree. I like being surprised. And I like when I expect something to behave a certain way, it's kind of fun for it not to behave that way. Like, it's kind of fun to see it behave differently because, you know, paper is different. So it is kind of fun. I like it too. But I can see how it can be infuriating. Like Eric was mentioning some of the papers for his inks when he like did the launch of the inks. Depending on what paper you use, some of the inks kind of leaned a different shade. So that's kind of frustrating because you're trying to compare, or you're trying to sort of like label these inks as a certain shade. And so if they look different on different paper, then it's kind of frustrating in that way. But when you're just exploring and you're just having fun and you're painting, I agree. It's really fun to like try different paper and try and see how the inks sort of behave on different paper. So definitely agree. This is the teal. And then also, like what we're talking about, adding water and the different like painting techniques, diluting inks or blending them. That also depends on the paper too, right? Like some paper can handle inks and paints pretty well. And then there are others who are like, obviously you'll have like, you know, bleeding and you can't put too much paper on or too much water on the paper. So you're kind of like, you'll have more heavy consistency in the inks. I like hearing you both talk about paper and inks. This is so helpful. Oh, I'm so glad. I know, because like we're obviously friends on Instagram and like engage, you know, talk about inks and stuff like that on Instagram. But that's why I kind of wanted to do these lives, because it's fun just like hanging out and talking about inks as you're playing with them, because like doing a YouTube video or doing a reel or whatever on Instagram or YouTube, they're all like curated, right? Like they're edited, they're meant to show you like the end result more than like talk about parts of the process that you may not see behind the scenes when things don't really work out or when things don't go the way that you expect. And so you kind of see like edited versions of that, but it's really fun to talk about it live, especially when people are, you know, like they input their experience. That's why I love when Olive Octopus throws in her 2 cents about like paper and inks and stuff, because I may not have considered stuff like that. So I love hearing other people's experiences as well, because it helps me understand like different aspects of ink and paper. So I totally agree. And you should explore more painting with inks. You have come to the right place, especially when Olive Octopus is here too. Community time. You love the teals and greens. Yes, I know. Teals and greens. There's something about it, right? Like it's really, really nice. And then I love how they're sort of blending here. That's kind of fun to see. Feathering when inks are blending is nice. Feathering when you're trying to write with an ink is frustrating. But I love when ink sort of feathers out when they're blending into another ink. It's really fun. Oh, you get to see my lovely face. Yes. I am trying to be more out there, trying to be a little bit more, I guess pushing myself to be a little bit more like, you know, put myself out there, be a little bit more social. And I think I love seeing people's faces too. Like, you know, it's not like it's a necessity or anything like that. So, but if people are comfortable having a conversation and showing their face, it is kind of nice. Plus, I really enjoy teaching and doing like workshops, and Olive Octopus, like you too, right? Like you love encouraging people and getting people to get out of their comfort zones a little bit and show them that we don't know what we're doing either, but we're having fun. And then with more practice and more time spent doing this stuff, it's confidence. It's not necessarily skill. It's confidence. And I think that confidence and joy of doing this art and playing with inks or paints or whatever your medium is, I think that comes through in your art. So it's not necessarily, you know, just being naturally good at something. It's practicing it and doing it over and over and over so that you feel confident enough to put it out there. A lot of times when people mention that they don't like their art or they don't like what they create, it's because they weren't confident enough in the art. Like I feel like a lot of times you can see when someone's hesitant and they put too much thought into it. There's a lot of expectation when they do art, and when you put a lot of expectation on yourself to make something, then your art will not, you're not giving your art permission enough to become whatever it's going to become. And so like you sort of start out with just whatever, but I love seeing that become something else, and I don't know what it's going to become, but that's part of the fun for me. Preach. So yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, yeah, so I love encouraging other people to do the same. I love surprisingly enough, I actually really enjoyed teaching those workshops at the SF Pen Show last year, hoping to do the same this year, because I got a lot out of it. Like I just being part of a group of people who were open to trying something new, to trying an art that they may have not felt comfortable doing at first, and then seeing how they enjoyed that process. And in the end, every one of those people who did this said that they actually really liked it. Like they were happy with what they created. And I didn't do that. I didn't teach them, like one way of doing something. I didn't teach them one way of drawing a flower, because that's not what I do. There is no one way of drawing a flower, especially mine. They're all over the place. But they gave themselves permission to let that art be whatever it was going to be. And I think they were all surprised in the end and also really happy. And when you enjoy the process of creating art like this, or even like this, like when you just have fun coloring in something, right? Or drawing something and you just have fun, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised in the end. It's going to turn out the way it's going to turn out. And but I still think like it's art, right? So it's pretty in its own way. And that's dry, so we can draw on it. Yes, exactly. I started making time for myself to be more creative, to do more creative stuff about 7 years ago, and dove into pens and inks about 4.5 years ago. So it's a journey of trying things and finding what fits and grows with experiences. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Olive. I love hearing how people like started, but also hearing how people sort of like gave into that journey, right? Of being creative, of doing art and like doing it for themselves. So I love hearing when people, decide like this, I'm going to do this for me and I'm going to take some time and I'm just going to do stuff. And Olive Octopus, like you make amazing art, right? Like the things that you draw, I'm just like, I can't draw like that. I can if I put time into it and, actually practiced and stuff. But I'm in awe of your drawings, and like what you create is amazing. So keep doing it, definitely, because you are inspiring and your art is inspiring. And just the fact that you have that many ink swatches and that much ink that you love is amazing. And yeah, I loved talking ink and ink swatching and stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing. All of this plus the community have and continue to completely transform my life. Yeah, really challenging life stuff over the last 4 years. I know. And like I said, right, like especially Fridays are my painting days because it's the end of a long week. Like we all have our own things going on in life, and I'm glad that we can take time for ourselves, but I'm also glad that we can take time and spend that time with the community, like, on Twitch, or, if we're going to pen shows, that we can actually hang out at pen shows and support each other and encourage each other. Because I think that makes like a lasting impression on all of us, right? I'm such a noob, but that's what I love. You are not a noob. I feel like you're lurking a little bit, and I can't wait for you to start like actually painting and drawing and stuff like that. And I know you're sort of exploring fountain pens now, but you're gonna get there. You're gonna be one of us in terms of inks and collecting different inks and pens that you love. You just want to have fun and learn. And I love that. Like, you just have to be open to learning or to be part of a community and let that inspiration sort of guide you and like wherever you're going to sort of end up in your art. I'm more surprised than anyone, to be honest. And you're all in. Yes, I love that. I love that all in attitude. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, we all have like things that we go through life. And like Aziza mentioned on the podcast, we all go through periods of grief or things that are really hard. And if we can find a way to get through those times and come out stronger on the other side, or have something that helps us through that time, then it's all better. Like, it's all for the better. And with my art, I think like I sort of talk about this too in my workshops, and just like getting through periods of where there are hard times and you're under stress, you're under a lot of emotions, but turning to something that helps you relax and get you out of focusing on, those worries and things that get you down, and letting, like for me, it's letting my hand guide my art. So it's going with the flow and letting my hand physically do something, because I think for me, it's like all of that sort of pent up stress and emotions, it has to go somewhere, right? And for me, it's channeling that through doing something with my hands. And that's how, painting and drawing came about, is channeling that into using my hands and guiding them to just do something. And while I'm doing that, it's like shutting off my mind, not thinking about what I'm actually doing. So there's no expectations of what it's going to look like in the end and what it's going to turn out to be like. I don't care if it looks good or not. And I think that being subjective, right? Whether art looks good is very, very, very subjective. And to me, it's like, if I don't even think about whether I'm going to like it or not, then it's not even a factor. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it looks good or not. And I think over time, that confidence to continue is something that, stands out, like in terms of art that I'm happy with. So initially, when you're starting out, do it for you. You don't have to share, even though I would love to see, because I would love to encourage you. No judgment at all. So you don't have to share at all with anyone. Do it for you, and do it because you want to spend time doing art, and not because you want something to look like something. So don't make it because you want it to look like this, or what Olive Octopus does, or, you don't need it to look like anyone else's work but your own. And so do it for you at first. And then once you sort of keep practicing that, find the joy in it. So for me, it's like seeing the different inks and colors blend together, and the shimmers, and just like, I'm a visual person. So seeing those colors coming together and like unexpectedly blending or working so well together that I may not have noticed or realized before. That's my enjoyment in this, is that I see it, and it's just like visually so pleasing to me. Right? Oh, I'm so glad. It's wonderful advice. It's just me talking. I'm just saying stuff. Oh, you're getting happy teary at work. Oh, thank goodness everyone is gone. We need those moments, right? Where we're just like, we just need to, it's real talk though, right? It's real talk. This has been my outlet for the last 5 years. I was so sick for so long. I couldn't really move. Oh, yeah. So why not journal and paint? Exactly. Yeah. The community has been so inspiring and wonderful. Yeah. Art is a form of therapy, and art is a way of physically doing something that brings enjoyment to you. And that's why it's so subjective, because it just depends on what you like. And you may end up finding that you love paints or inks or, coloring pencils and coloring. I started painting with with watercolor paints. And I still do, but I find that I use fountain pen inks a lot more because I have a lot of them, and I personally like feel like I need to use them more because I get ink bottles for a reason. They're bright, they're fun, I love the shades, or they have other properties that I like shimmer and sheen. And so I get these bottles of ink, and painting with them is a way for me to enjoy them outside of inking up a fountain pen, right? And some of the properties you might not be able to catch in a fountain pen, especially if you use like extra fine or fine nibs. And so if you play with them a little bit, either by coloring in or by just freehand painting or just throwing them down on paper, just blobs of ink, then, you know, that's another way of enjoying something you may already have, right? Like if you're getting into fountain pens and fountain pen ink, don't worry so much about like how many bottles of ink you're going to have, or, you know, like how am I going to use it all? Because there are other ways of using up inks, and enjoying them. And like I said, like I paint with fountain pen inks quite often, and I have yet to finish a bottle of ink. Like I ink up fountain pens and I paint with them, and I still have so much. Like I've used this pigment ink bottle for a couple of years now, and I do a lot of like drawing with it. And I'm not like stingy with it at all. I don't think of it as wasting it, obviously, because I'm using it. But there's still so much in there. I've yet to finish this bottle. So, yeah. I love it all. I was in the office on Wednesday with all the good Twitch streams, and then the episode with Aziza. I know. You were all up in your feelings while working. I was all up in my feelings at home. I think I was making dinner for the kids at the time while I was listening to the podcast with Brad and Aziza. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I relate so much to everything they were saying. And Paw Pal Gal, I love your username. If you I was saying before, if you haven't listened to Brad's podcast episode, The Pen Addict, you should, because this week was a really good one. It was with Aziza from Gourmet Pens. And what she was saying about like art being therapy and helping you, you know, outside of like if you don't find something like this to practice. I too find that I get angry really easily, or I get really upset really easily. And finding moments where you can relax and just like, you know, just chill makes me a happier person too. And Aziza kind of mentioned that. It's like, I think it just makes you, your temperament a little bit easier, right? It makes things a little bit easier to handle. And whether that's like journaling or going into your planner, you know, and just playing with stickers and washi and stuff, or if you grab like ink and just like throw it down onto paper, regardless of like what it ends up turning out to, is like that's what's fun. So it has definitely helped me through, you know, losing my mom is how I started drawing flowers in the first place, because I started drawing floral bouquets that were at the house. And then I got into fountain pens and fountain pen inks, and that's when I kind of decided to combine like inks and playing with them and painting with them with these floral doodles. And a way of like swatching inks for me is just like sketching out flowers, and that's like a fun way of me to do it. So regardless of how you sort of decide to play with your tools and your supplies, inks or whatever, or even stickers, right? Like us journal people and stationery people, we love more than just inks and pens, right? We love stickers, we love tactile stuff like paper, and we love playing with different mediums. There's just something so satisfying about like touching different textures and playing with different things. So different art supplies. Sometimes you have to take a restroom break and get it together. Yes, just more solidarity and love for this community. Like not everyone has to share their journey and how they got here or how they got into things. It's your private, like it's your journey, right? You don't have to share that. But when people do share how they got into stuff, and a lot of times you can find common denominators, like a common ground, right? Where people are going through a hard time, or, they were like, I had no friends and found this community online who are into the things I'm into. And like, we're accepting, right? Like anyone can get into fountain pens and inks and stationery. Be one of us, right? We're not like, we're not exclusive in any way where you can't do this stuff, where you can't share your stuff. And like I said, I am very encouraging in the way that, like, who am I to judge someone's art? Who am I to judge, what looks good and what doesn't, when I'm just having fun too. So I love seeing when people share like their stories and also what they do. Like I don't see how this time spent playing with inks and other tools, I don't see how that's a waste of time. I don't see how that's a waste of ink or materials or anything. I think this was very productive. This was like fun work. So yeah. Okay. You can find Olive Octopus on Twitch, and then also on Instagram. Twitch recommended Olive Octopus's stream to me yesterday morning, and I thought, that's where everyone hangs out before Brad streams Plain Water. Yes. I think even Brad kind of shows up there, right, Olive? Like sometimes, if it's early enough or whatever, before he streams. But yeah. It's like you have a meeting in 3 minutes. Yes, I appreciate you, Olive Octopus. Until next time, go do your meeting. Go do adulting stuff. We'll be here. We'll be here next time, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, sometimes he has funny timing. Yeah. Yeah, Olive Octopus is awesome. As is everyone else in the community. Brad is awesome. Everyone's awesome. So fun. Paw Pal Gal, you're awesome. You're good too. Yay, bye. Yeah, it's just really funny to see like how people sort of get into this and continue their journey. So fun though. It's such a fun time to hang out, and I think that's why Twitch is sort of like a great platform for that, because or YouTube too for some people. I know a lot of people are on YouTube, and they're able to join lives on YouTube or watch replays. If you're watching this as a replay, thank you so much for watching. Either on YouTube or Twitch, but Twitch is also a great community because there are other streamers like Olive Octopus and Brad and others who are, fun to hang out with. And yeah, just to hang out with and just like have them do their thing on stream, and you can follow along and do stuff too, or, have them in the background. And it's kind of like you're hanging out with friends because they're doing their thing, you're doing your thing. And you're not alone, right? Like we're all in this. We're all in this together. I loved everything you said about it not being a waste of time. Yeah, it brings us so much joy and cathartic. Like it should never be a waste. Like it should never be considered a waste of time. Art, I think, is like it's a foundation for us. I think finding some way, some outlet in art is cathartic. I think it helps us in any way, right? And or even just like, and it doesn't have to be like painting or something. It doesn't have to take a lot of time either. Like it could just be something fast, and it could just be, you know, taking out a fountain pen that you've inked up with a bright, fun color, and just like doodling, or even just writing, right? Like journaling, like I said, even if you're just writing and kind of enjoying that writing experience, enjoying the ink, enjoying just everything about what you're doing. Yeah, I think like brings us joy is never a waste of time. Journaling, drawing, art, any kind of you know, stationery related thing is never a waste of time. It's always productive because it's a time for us to rest. It's a time for us to be mindful. It's a time for us to be present in the moment. And it's a time for us to escape, you know, our regular, like whatever sort of bringing us down in real life. As it does, it's a great time for us to escape. And but escape in like, you know, in a creative, healthy way. And it's kind of nice, like, you know, you get to share that art with others. Like for me, part of the fun of doing art is sharing it with others and then encouraging them to do it too. Like this was just so fun to do. And the flowers are not, you know, they may not look like this, right? These flowers are kind of like sketchy, you know, style, very sort of messy and chaotic and stuff, but I still love them and I still think the colors are fun. And same with this, you know, they're kind of like in the moment, just like a surprise basically. And it doesn't have to look good to be, you know, art and creative, and to get you out of your comfort zone of just like not doing it. I always think it's better to just like, if you want to take some time for yourself, take out the stuff that make you happy, whether it's stickers or ink or whatever, and play with it for a little bit. Because creative time is like the best time. Sharing art is one of the best bonuses. Yeah. And you find your community, because if you're part of a community like this one, there is no judgment. Like, and you know, yeah, I get comments sometimes on YouTube or whatever to, you know, people who don't know or have not tried it, or they're judging themselves for not being able to, you know, put themselves out there and do art. And so I do get comments where it's kind of like, oh, like, you know, you did this and how much time did you spend on it and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't matter. So find your community and share your art with them. And it should just be, you know, we encourage each other. We have fun together, especially if we meet in real life. If we meet in real life at like a pen show or whatever event, whatever stationery event. Can always spend some time and do art together and share. You need to be better about sharing. I mean, you know, you do you. If you want to keep it private and to yourself, 100%, you are allowed to do that. You can keep it to yourself if you want. But also know that there are all of us out here who just want to encourage you, who just want to see you spend time doing art, and who will love it regardless. I don't care what it looks like. To me, it will always look good because it's your creativity, right? It's your art, and that will always be reflected in whatever you create. And And most likely I will probably just look at it, like if you're using inks and stuff, and ask you what ink you use, because I love all kinds of colors and shades and stuff. And I love when people use different inks and different colors, and then I'm kind of drawn to what they used, and I need to know. I need to know what inks they had. This has been so fun. Oh, it's been so fun too. Red Kite, thank you for joining. Thanks for being here. You seriously want to go to SF Pen Show? I know, just to hug me. Yes, I know. I want to see you too. If you can go to the SF Pen Show, you should, because I will be there. I've got my flights, hotels, and everything. So I will be at the SF Pen Show for sure. And most likely teaching a workshop again. But also just hanging out and having fun. And I can't wait to like see everyone else in the community who, will be there. But also, there are other events that we can maybe, we definitely can hang out. But yeah, so can't wait for that. I am going to bounce and no. Movie night butter. In with the jokes. Can dogs use MRI machines? No, but cats can. I love that. Oh. Well, we did need a good laugh, I think. I think we were talking about, finding ways out of big emotions and stuff. And one way is to joke. They can all do a PT scan. A PET scan. We always need a big laugh. Thank you. So fun. Well, I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for hanging out or, joining at any point during the stream. Thanks for joining. Thanks for, if you're watching the replay, thank you for being part of the VOD Club. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being part of this community in any way. And yeah, we had some fun painting with inks. Again, if you want to download these illustrations made by Lisa from Olive Octopus, go to inkpony.club. I'll put it here again, inkpony.club. You can download these illustrations on paper, fountain pen friendly paper if you're going to play with fountain pen inks, or HP Premium 32 pound is my go-to for just like good paper, so you can color or you can use any kind of other stationery supply or tool. Have fun, go play with inks. Next week, I think I will be streaming Monday and Wednesday, same time, same place, because I'll be out on Friday. So Monday and Wednesday, and one of those days we'll probably be doing some painting with shimmer inks. So we're gonna take out all the glittery stuff. It will be bright, it'll be fun, it'll be a good time. And then the other time, we'll probably talk about planners and journals, because it's the end of February, we're going into March. I'm a big planner and journal person, and and I usually sort of look back at what has worked for me in terms of, what I'm using for planners and journals. And I have also incorporated my new square plotter. So Plotter Club, we'll talk about that. And that might be interesting in terms of like what I use outside of like, papers and sketchbooks. So, books that I use my fountain pens in and stuff. I forgot to do this in the intro, but I should always introduce myself. I just start the streams like, you know who I am. I'm Corolla. I am Corolla. I'm a stationery and fountain pen enthusiast. I like all sorts of stationery things. Love playing with fountain pen inks. I do painting, abstract floral art, and I love sharing all that with you. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, shimmer inks. All of the shimmer inks next week. Okay. I'll see you then. Bye.